Good afternoon. If everybody could just grab a seat who's looking for one, that would be terrific. I'm going to deem it to be 12:30 and call the meeting to order. My name is Michael Kornberg. I'm a director of Canfor and chairman of the board, and I'll act as chairman of the meeting. I'm delighted to extend a warm welcome to all of you today for the 32nd annual general meeting of Canfor as a public company. This is the second year in a row that we've come to Prince George. We're delighted to be here. This is really the heart of Canfor and its Canadian operations, and we're delighted to be here in the community that means so much to the company. At this point, it's my pleasure to introduce our President and CEO, Don Kane, who's seated up here on the stage. Don's going to address you in a little while. You might want to wave to them, Don, in case they don't know who you are. That's Don. With your indulgence, I'm going to hold off on questions until after Don's had his presentation. Also seated at the head table is David Calabrigo, the Senior Vice President, Corporate Development, Legal Affairs, Human Resources, and Corporate Secretary. And David's going to serve as the Secretary of the meeting. I'd also like to introduce you to our directors, Peter Bentley, Glenn Clark, Ron Cliff, Jim Pattison, Conrad Panett, Max Singleton, Ross Smith, and William Stinson. Each of these directors has worked very hard, and we certainly appreciate, and I know the management does as well, the contributions that they make to the company. Mr. Cliff, one of the directors, is not standing for re-election today. Mr. Cliff has been a director since this company became a public company. 31 years ago, he was the chairman of the board for several years, including several years of key growth in the company. He's been a member of the audit committee since the company was founded as a public company, and all of us appreciate Ron for his contributions and had an opportunity last night to say thanks on behalf of the company. I'm also pleased to express the board's appreciation for the many great contributions by everybody here in Prince George and around the company's operations, and especially to the officers of the company, including those present today, and I'd like to introduce them alphabetically and invite them to stand up and be recognized. Onkar Atwal, the Vice President, Human Resources. Alistair Cook, Senior Vice President, Operations for Canada. Patrick Elliott, the Vice President and Treasurer. Mark Feldinger, the Senior Vice President, Energy, Environment, Transportation, and Sourcing. Wayne Guthrie, the Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing. Bob Hayes, Vice President, Transportation, Procurement, and Distribution. Christine Kennedy, Vice President, Brand and External Relations. Tom Lewis, Vice President, Woodlands, Canada. Alan Nicol, Senior Vice President, Finance and Chief Financial Officer. Doug Worsler, President of Canfor Southern Pine. And Brett Robinson, who is the President of Canfor Pulp. I hereby appoint CST Trust Company as scrutineer for the meeting. I'd like now to call upon David to deal with the notice for the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, the notice calling the meeting was mailed to all shareholders of the company entitled to receive such notice. CST Trust Company has provided us with a certificate as to the mailing, and a copy of the certificate will be kept in the records of the company.
Thanks, David. Would you also please communicate to everybody the scrutineer's report?
We're pleased to report that there are 91 shareholders holding 113,435,785 common shares representing in person or by proxy at this meeting. This represents 81% of the issued outstanding capital of the company.
Thank you. As chairman of the meeting, I adopt the scrutineer's report and declare the attendance at the meeting to be as David has just reported. In accordance with that report, I declare a quorum of the meeting's shareholders to be present and this meeting to be duly constituted for the transaction of business. I'd like to ask those who've kindly agreed to make or second motions to please stand up, identify themselves, and indicate whether they're shareholders or proxy holders. And as you know, whenever you're running an annual general meeting, in order to keep the meeting going along, you look for people to make or second motions. That's not to preclude conversation on any of the topics, and we welcome anybody to make any motions at the appropriate time. The first item of business is to deal with the minutes of the last meeting. The minutes of that meeting are available for any shareholder to review. Unless somebody wishes, I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading of those minutes.
My name is Bob Hayes, I'm a shareholder of the company. I move that the minutes of the annual general meeting of members held on May 1st, 2013 be taken as read and approved.
Thank you. May I have a seconder? Thank you, Mr. Gurry. You've all heard the motion. If you're in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Anybody opposed? Good, we can skip reading the minutes. That's a good thing. Moving on, the presentation of the consolidated financial statements. The next item of business is to deal with those statements for the year ended December 31st, 2013, together with the auditor's report and the company's report of the directors to the members. Those statements and reports are contained in the annual report, which has been mailed to the shareholders, and copies of it are available at the back of the room. Unless there's any questions, I'll regard the statements and reports as having been received. Thank you. It's now time for the election of directors. The meeting is open for nominations.
My name is Mark Feldinger. I'm a shareholder of the company. I nominate Peter J.G. Bentley, Glenn G. Clark, Michael J. Korenberg, James A. Pattison, Conrad A. Finette, J. McNeil Mac Singleton, Ross S. Smith, and William W. Stinson as directors of the company to hold office until the next annual general meeting.
Thank you very much for nominating them, Mr. Feldinger. Those happen to be management's nominees as set forth in the information circular that was sent out to call this meeting. Are there any further nominations? There being no further nominations, I declare the nominations to be closed, and as only the required number of persons has been nominated, that means they've all been elected by acclamation to hold office until the next AGM. Thank you. Next point of business, the appointment of the auditors. It's the board's recommendation that the present auditors be reappointed. May I have a motion to that effect?
Mr. Chair, my name is Pat Kelly. I'm a shareholder. I move that PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP Chartered Accountants be appointed auditors and hold office until the next annual general meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Elliott. Is there a seconder to the motion?
My name is Rob Jarvis. I'm a shareholder of the company, and I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Jarvis. You've all heard the motion. All those in favor, please indicate by raising their hand. Opposed? The motion is carried. I declare PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP Chartered Accountants to be the appointed auditors. I'd now like to invite Don Kane, the company's president and CEO, to address the meeting. Don.
So thanks, Mike, and welcome everybody. We're certainly glad to be back here in Prince George again for our annual general meeting. So 2013 was our first AGM in Prince George, and it was the start of a very special year for Canfor. Throughout the year, we held events to celebrate our 75th anniversary in all of our operating communities. There have been a lot of changes since John Prentice and Polly Bentley started their first mill in 1938, but we continue to stay firm to values that meant so much to our founders, that Peter Bentley instilled in all of us and still serve us well today. A commitment to safety, to our employees, to our customers, and to our communities. We also remain committed to delivering value for our shareholders, and on behalf of my executive team and everyone at Canfor and Canfor Pulp, I want to thank you for your support. It is a big part of our ability to capitalize on the tremendous opportunities that lie ahead. And there are many opportunities before us. We are seeing growing demand and new applications for products around the world. We have a strong balance sheet and industry-leading fiber quality and security. We have made significant capital investments, and we have a strong, dedicated workforce across all of our operations. We also have a clear vision, which is to ensure Canfor is the most innovative creator of sustainable customer and shareholder value in the forest products industry. Everything we do is focused on this vision, and that's what will move us forward and grow our success. And we are finally getting some help. In 2013, lumber markets continued to strengthen. U.S. housing starts rose 18%, and there were solid increases in price levels for most of our products. Our overall financial results for Canfor Corporation in 2013 were much improved over the previous year. Our net income for 2013 was $229 million, which was up from $26 million in 2012. Compared to 2012, lumber production in 2013 was up 9%, and shipments were up 7%, thanks to the capital investments in our operations and technology and the exceptional work of our committed employees. Canfor Corporation's consolidated return on invested capital in 2013 was nearly 18%, up almost fivefold over our 2012 results. There was also strong demand from offshore markets, and we continue to benefit from our higher value product mix, our improved fiber base, and recent capital upgrades. the weaker Canadian dollar, and lower export taxes on Canadian shipments to the United States. Our pulp group, under the direction of our Canfor Pulp President, Brett Robinson, also posted stronger performance in 2013, with net income of $42 million compared to $13 million for 2012. Global softwood pulp markets improved steadily through 2013, driven by improving demand from our traditional markets, specifically Europe and North America, while demand from China was relatively even year over year. Pulp shipments in 2013 were up by about 4%, reflecting both higher production and shipments. Overall, we are very optimistic about the future for Canfor and proud of some of the company's recent accomplishments, including the progress in China, which has been nothing short of incredible. In 2013, we exported more than 1 billion board feet of lumber, making it our largest offshore market, and we signed a joint venture agreement to develop a secondary manufacturing facility in China. We're becoming an industry leader in turning wood residuals into green energy, and our Canfor Red brand has been well received by our customers, and we recently expanded it to include our J-grade products. We're bringing Canfor and Canfor Pulp together by leveraging the strength of both companies and focusing on a one Canfor approach across all our operations. We entered into a phased purchase agreement with Scotch and Gulf of Alabama last May, a company that shares our strong family history. We continue to focus on our core business and have divested assets that do not match with our key priorities. We sold our 50% stake in Peace Valley OSB plant and our Dacwom facility in Quebec. There has also been some challenges. We made the difficult but necessary decision to close our Quesnel facility, which permanently ceased operations on March 17th of this year. The issue of combustible dust continues to be a complicated, high-profile, and politicized file, and will likely remain so for the foreseeable future. I will address this a little more later, but you can be assured that our focus is to do whatever is necessary to keep our employees and our mills safe. We are facing an acute shortage of skilled trades in the BC Interior as well, and we need to continue working diligently to create new alliances, attract new employees, and retain the ones that we have. We have partnered with schools and post-secondary institutions across all our operating areas. Severe winter conditions this winter compromised our ability to move products by rail, restricting shipment volumes in North America. At the same time, the 28-day strike at Port Metro Vancouver negatively impacted offshore shipments. In terms of market development, we need to make sure that the BC government maintains its high level of support for market development. We see a lot more opportunity in China and great potential in India. Now is the time to expand our market development initiatives, and we need to make sure government at all levels continues to recognize the benefits that accrue throughout BC through these joint initiatives. While we support a maintained and expanded government role in international market development, we have advised the BC government that we cannot support the current proposal to convert some volume-based tenures in BC's interior to area-based. We would rather have government and industry focus on understanding what timber is available following the mountain pine beetle epidemic. That's what Canfor has done. We adjusted our production capacity and took the time to understand our fiber supply in our operating areas. Our singular interest is to ensure we have access to enough fiber to meet the needs of our customers on a sustainable basis. That said, if the government moves to an area-based tenure process, we will participate in order to protect our interests. As I mentioned, our aim is to meet the needs of our customers. That's why we've invested $850 million in both our lumber and pulp operation facilities since 2010, in the midst of the recession and when lumber prices were at historical lows. Last year, we had startups at our Elko, Houston, and Mackenzie sawmills, where the capital investments will increase productivity and improve cost performance. In Vavenby, we installed a new $10 million biomass-fueled heat energy system. And we continue to invest in our facilities. In December, we announced a $36 million investment for Houston, and earlier this year, we announced upgrades for Grand Prairie, Elko, and Fort St. John. Just yesterday, we received approval from our Capital Committee to proceed with 2 new significant investments, which I am pleased to announce today. At our Polar facility in Bear Lake, we will invest over $30 million to improve recovery and enable diversification into higher value products, as well as replace the existing sawmill building. And at our Fort St. John facility, we will move ahead with the 3rd and final phase of our log yard stabilization project, investing over $6 million. As a result of our capital programs, our employee commitment, and our management discipline, we continue to make solid progress towards top quartile performance for our solid wood operations and maintain top quartile performance in our pulp assets. Safety is, and always has been, Canfor's #1 priority, and we remain absolutely committed to being a safety leader in the manufacturing sector. In 2013, our medical incident rate was 2.28 across the company, which is slightly higher than our target of 2 or lower. We are focused hard on several areas to further improve workplace safety, and we expect to make solid progress again in 2014. As I mentioned earlier, we will continue to do everything possible to manage combustible dust. Along with our colleagues in several major forest companies, Canfor has been a leader in the industry response to 2 tragic explosions in British Columbia in 2012. We are working closely with Minister Bond, as well as with WorkSafe BC and the BC Safety Authority, and we certainly appreciate the focus and effort of these agencies. We have spent approximately $20 million to improve extraction, containment, and misting systems, and to provide additional labor for maintenance and cleanup. We are part of the Manufacturers Advisory Group, known as MAG, that was awarded BC's highest award for safety last year for its work on combustible dust. MAG developed an industry-wide auditable standard which is being implemented in all of our mills. It provides third-party assurance that all steps to manage dust hazards have been taken, and we completed the audits at our Kootenay operation earlier this month. We've made sure that every one of our employees knows they have the right and the responsibility to identify any safety concerns that are resulting from the dust accumulations. I should also say that we also have had the USW, I see Frank here as well, that also was a big part of and continues to be a big part of everything we're doing around that whole dust management process. Earlier I spoke about Canfor's pulp's leadership in energy and power generation. By 2020, our plan is to ensure that our pulp mills are 100% energy self-sufficient and that our Canadian sawmills are 25% energy self-sufficient. Over the same time frame, we expect to double Canfor Pulp's revenue from green energy sales with a corresponding revenue increase of $40 million to $60 million. That's just one way of the many ways we are innovating within our pulp and paper operations. There is less demand these days for newsprint and printing papers, so we are expanding into more specialty and premium grades in addition to green energy. Canfor Pulp is always looking for ways to create more value with less impact. It has reduced at-source particulate matter, odor, and fossil fuel use while producing more green power and more pulp. We've done a lot to improve air quality here in Prince George and helped set up an interactive air quality kiosk at Exploration Place so local residents can see for themselves how much the city's air quality is improving. Overall, our MBSK pulp assets create tremendous opportunities. The exceptional long fiber strength properties provide high-value opportunities for tissue, for paper, and for specialty products. We're proud to be active members of the communities where we operate, and we appreciate the unique and important relationship Canfor has with local residents and municipal councils. Last year, I had the pleasure of meeting with the mayor of every one of our Western Canadian operating communities. We also maintain strong working relationships with First Nations in our operating areas and have successful business arrangements with many of them. In 2013, we signed fiber supply agreements with First Nations who have access to timber in BC's southern interior. And under these agreements, we manage the tenure, and the First Nations earn revenue by selling us the timber. And we certainly look forward to the 2015 Winter Games. Here in Prince George, Canfor has signed on as a significant community partner. So taking a look now at our performance in Q1 of 2014, Canfor's net income for Q1 was $45.5 million, up from $28 million in Q4 of 2013. Compared to the previous quarter, after adjusting for one-time costs, including the closure of our Quesnel facility, operating income increased by $9.5 million. This improvement was a result of strong gains in lumber and pulp sale realizations, which both benefited from a lower Canadian dollar. Canfor Pulp posted a net income in quarter one of $25.7 million, up from $14 million in Q4. So the gains on the lumber side were definitely offset by the challenges I mentioned in getting our products to market. We appreciate the exceptional work of our transportation providers through these tough conditions. They have been open and supportive in engaging Canfor and other forest companies to determine how we can stabilize transportation going forward. We are looking forward to a return to normal transportation conditions in Q2 and a long-term labor solution at the Port of Vancouver. Looking ahead, and despite the recent transportation challenges, we do expect markets to return to more normal patterns in quarter two. While U.S. housing starts were up slightly in March to 946,000 units, they are still below market expectations, likely a result of the same weather issues that have impacted the rail network. But there are still plenty of reasons to be optimistic. Softwood lumber operating rates should continue to rise as the U.S. housing recovery continues and fiber availability constraints limit production response. We expect slightly better demand in the United States this year with improved overall returns. Offshore, we expect demand to remain solid with more opportunities for higher value products in China, where several cities are expanding rapidly. This is leading to increased interest in higher grade lumber for building systems, furniture, and other value-added applications. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that China offers incredible untapped potential in both increased volumes and value of those products. We were part of a trade mission to India in February of this year and found both a long-term opportunity for North American softwood in this market and strong Canfor recognition and brand awareness. As was the case with China, developing the market in India will take time. But as we discovered in China, we believe it is well worth the effort. One of our advantages here in BC is the fact we have a provincial government that understands the importance of strong collaborative efforts to advance market opportunities. And in our view, it is essential that this approach continue in the years ahead. So what is ahead? At Canfor, we are focusing on key priorities that we are confident will drive performance and strengthen shareholder value. This includes delivering exceptional customer satisfaction and attracting the best talent. We will be a preferred employer with an unmatched culture of safety, innovation, and engagement. We will continue to increase our production, and we will generate more green energy from lumber residuals through Canfor Pulp. Our goal is to maintain our top quartile performance and ensure industry-leading returns of 20% or more on invested capital over the cycle. We are positioned well for the future. We are generating more energy, attracting new customers, and diversifying our markets. We are actively looking for new acquisitions and investing in our existing facilities, expanding production and improving access to high-quality fiber to meet the needs of our global customers on a sustainable basis. We still have a ways to go to achieve the performance level that we are targeting, but we are well on our way. There has never been a better time to be part of the forest industry, and Canfor is in a unique position to lead the sector's growth and prosperity. So I'd like to thank the members of our board of directors for their commitment to Canfor and their support throughout the year. My special thanks to Ron Cliff, who ended his tenure as chair of our board in 2013, as Mike mentioned. Our thanks to Ron for his great leadership and commitment over the years. He has been a tremendous source of guidance for every member of the Canfor and Canfor Pulp executive team, and we appreciate all that he has done for both our companies. And of course we know that everything that we have to look forward to is only possible because of the great people in this organization who continue to demonstrate every day why Canfor is the leading company in our industry. To every employee across Canfor, thank you for your hard work and dedication throughout the year. And finally, to our shareholders, thank you for your continued confidence in our company. We look forward to exceeding your expectations in 2014. So thanks again for joining us today, and thanks very much.
Thank you, Don. That was an excellent and comprehensive report. Thank you for bringing the video along as well. I think it told a story very well. At this point in the meeting, it would be appropriate for anybody who's interested to ask a question. I'll refer them directly over to Don. Any questions? You spoke too long, Don. Anyway, good job. I'll entertain a motion to terminate the meeting. Thank you. Is there a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Mr. Sogstad. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. Nobody's opposed. The meeting's terminated. Thank you very much for coming out.